Okay. All right, I'm going to get right. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and call the meeting to order at 5:30. And the first order of business is the discussion and approval of the minutes for our last meeting from December 12th. Everybody got a chance to look over the minutes? Are there any corrections that need to be made? Any suggestions?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Do we have a second to that motion?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, our next order of business is the introduction of our new members.
All right, so as you know, we went out for new members this past month. Miss Berta Peña is our newest member. She is replacing Miss Ayala. Miss Ruby has been also reappointed. She will be taking over for Miss Knopp. And unfortunately, our third member that was selected was Miss Juliana Sosa. Due to other obligations, she had to decline. So in February, we will be going out for that vacancy again. So if you have anybody who's interested, please have them put in their application as soon as possible so we can get them in there. Last time we only had about 4 applications, which only 3 actually qualified for the board. So the more people we have, the broader of choice that our commissioners have.
All right. Item number 4, discussion and action of the appointment of officers.
So with the old crew going out, we have the choice of a new chairperson, vice chairperson, and recording secretary. From that which yourself, Mr. Pineda, Mr. Olivo, Ms. Ruby, Ms. Lizardi, you all, between you 4 can choose who's going to be our next chairperson, our vice chairperson, and recording secretary. There'll have to be a vote, and then everybody will have to vote on it and follow those procedures. So,
you provide like a brief summary of maybe some of the main responsibilities for each position.
so the chairperson is responsible for
Meetings, right?
yeah, to take care of the meetings, right, but also responsible for creating the agenda with the director. So what would happen is that we create the agenda, we pass it on to the chairperson will review the agenda, determine whether changes need to be made or not beforehand, and then sign off on that, as well as they can call emergency meetings, create other like task force and whatnot. Those are the responsibilities of the chairperson. Vice chairperson would be taking over any responsibility the chairperson cannot do in his or her stead if they can't make it to the meeting. So calling the meeting to order and also approving of yeas and nays. And then the recording secretary will be responsible for jotting down the minutes and taking care of attendance. And then that report to me those attendance and those minutes, or whoever is in my position.
Right. Now, the question about the minutes, like it's follow up, but you all, like the draft we get, the staff does those, right?
Well, this last time, because the only other person that qualified for recording secretary was Miss Ayala, and due to her health, did not feel like she was capable of doing it. We had voted on myself to be the recording secretary this time around. So that is an option, but it's preferably that it's somebody on the board that is the recording secretary.
Or could it, sorry, one more follow up. Could it be in combination with, because I know you all record the meetings too,
Correct.
in case there's anything missed,
Yes.
right? Coming up with those minutes,
Yes.
right? Okay.
So do we want to start for a chairperson? Ms. Ruby is currently our chairperson. If you would like to vote on her to continue being chairperson, or if somebody else would like to throw in a nomination, we will welcome either or.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are you interested in continuing?
I know I'm gonna be a little bit more busy, so I would actually want to step down and run for a different position. Just because I know that I might not be able to attend some of the meetings, as far as my responsibility of running meetings. So I would rather somebody that will make that commitment and that has more time to be the chairperson.
Gotcha.
So who does that leave? Why don't-
Mr. Olivo, you have an awesome record with us.
There you go.
So would anybody like to make a nomination?
Sounds like Mr. Olivo. For chair.
Mr. Olivo, would you accept being the chairperson if voted on?
Yes.
Okay. So those in favor for Mr. Olivo to be the chairperson?
Aye.
Okay, so Mr. Olivo, you are our new chairperson, so you will be running the rest of the meeting after this section. Okay. All right, for vice chair, who would like to nominate themselves for vice chair? That was held by Ms. Knott beforehand, and again, that's the responsibility of taking over when the chairperson is unavailable.
I would want to nominate myself for vice chair.
Okay. Would anybody else like to nominate, or would anybody like to second that?
Second.
All right, and vote. Ayes?
Aye.
All right, so Ms. Ruby, you are our vice chairperson. All right, and now recording secretary, what would you like to do with that position?
I'm good with the minutes. That's how we've been getting. I don't know if there's any thoughts on that.
We can nominate one of our new board members, right?
No, it has to be from the previous
Okay.
board.
So who do we have left?
Mr. Pineda or Ms. Pineda?
All right, I'm not.
Well, maybe one thing I would suggest for this with, I mean. You know. I don't know, I mean, do you want to have a position? I guess I'm just trying to think in terms of, do
You-
you have time?
That is if you would like.
Right, but I guess I'm wondering, it doesn't make sense to, just sort of nominally, if they're drafted, maybe the recording secretary can. Look over it too, before. After you've done a draft, send it to the recording secretary to make sure.
To co-chair the position.
Co-chair the position.
Right, that there is someone looking over it, but I mean, this is because it's, you also staff, you're recording it. I guess if there's ever any question about what happened in the meeting, you sort of go to. Man, I want to step on Cynthia.
I like that idea.
Right, and what I'm looking at, I don't know, for whatever reason, and maybe it's because I missed the last meeting. The formatting looks a bit different. I'm not certain if this has been the template that we've been.
Mhm.
All right, and then as far as reports, I would imagine that you do preview these reports before having them, I guess, a skeletal view for us on slides. How is it, what's the behind the scenes to get to?
So to get to the minutes, the final draft, right?
Well, to get to where we're getting these reports at the meeting and then afterwards.
So on the Friday, I send the minutes for you to review over the weekend for the Monday, and then I have them in person for those who didn't get a chance to do it. What happens is that I go back, I write down notes, go back, review the videos, write down the minutes for it, like the summaries of what we discussed. And then I have my supervisor, sometimes Ms. Courtney here to review afterwards for spelling, grammatical errors, make sure it sounds sane, because it's a lot to take in sometimes. And then that's when I finalize it and send it to y'all, and then we get to here.
I'm just wondering if all the reports that we're getting, are you privy to those prior to the meeting? And is that something that you use to help you get your minutes together as well?
Yes,
Yes.
so all the information that they're providing, I house all the presentations and everything for it to begin with. All of that gets put into a file, so I have all that digitally filed on the computer.
I wouldn't mind helping as far as co-chairing, but then that just seems like it's just adding another part to what's already established. And these look so nicely done.
Exactly, if we're comfortable doing this, or if we want to do a co-chair, we can do that. It's up to you guys.
Whatever.
Are we good as far as
Flip a
other?
coin or. You mean, yeah, I mean, I think we're fine as
Good.
is. I guess one thing I was thinking, sometimes for minutes, what you want to do is, maybe this is just for more readability. For any action items, right, that where we voted on, so maybe that can be in bold or underlined within the minutes itself, right, like, that there was some sort of action taken, right?
Okay.
I mean, a lot of this is good, like summaries of what's going on, but just so that can be clearly found. And that's more for record keeping, right? If you ever
Yeah.
trying to figure out what decision you made, you can quickly find.
What were the naysayers? Yeah, spell their names out.
Yes, well, you know, it was my suggestion to put present and absent again, so you can all be accountable who's here, who's not, so. Do myself, I wasn't the last.
All right, so yes, so are we keeping it as is then?
And I guess, is there any downside to like, I guess the only other thing I can think of is there, I mean, is there any reason that there needs to be a name attached to it? Like if there's.
So previous, historically, before I took over the minutes, it was a board member. What would happen is the board member would write out all the minutes, send it to me so I could
Mhm.
solidify it. Because what happens as well is that I make sure that those minutes get submitted to our city website for like our boards and commissions. So you could find all the minutes there. You could find the videos there as well. So they would write it down. I wouldn't review them or anything. I would just, as the person would submit it to me, that's the way I would turn it into city secretaries. And that was historically how it was done. So it was associated to the board because each board has their own recording secretary. But because of the circumstances we had last time, I took over this time around, right? And again, it's just how you guys feel comfortable if you want to do it that way.
And I guess this is the follow-up, there's no requirement, I'm actually secretary for another board, so I'm gonna be on it, so I know it takes time too. There's no requirement that you're aware of that, you know, sometimes secretaries have to sign the minutes once they're approved, anything like
No,
that.
not for this board, because it's more of an advisory board. I believe it's only if it's a fiduciary board, it
Okay,
has to be.
there's someone's name attached to it, okay, well, that's more reason I think to keeping it as is maybe.
That makes,
Vote for to keep it as is.
Aye.
We're so moved.
All right, so it is that way. And we are done with the officers. Mr. Olivo, you will be officially taking over the meeting.
Okay, item number 5, citizen comment. I don't think we have any.
We have no comments.
No comment. Item number 6, library report youth services.
We're gonna switch that up a little bit. We have adult services going first. They have a starting at 6 o'clock, so she will be going first.
Adult services.
Adult services will go first, and then we'll continue normal afterwards.
So good afternoon, everyone. I'm Berta Lopez, the librarian in charge for the adults. So slide for the month of December, during the month of December, we had the cooking classes continue. So on the 5th and the 19th, we had them here in this room. We would move the chairs and the tables to make it look like a classroom. And we had like more than 20 people show up, including kids, teens, and adults. Those are pictures of the Grinch skewers we're doing. And not only did Vanessa, which is the lady from the public health department, the one in the red shirt, she didn't come by herself. She came also with another lady who was measuring the blood pressure and the weight and the height of the adults who wanted to check themselves. Okay. Other things that we did in December include again, like showing a movie, having karaoke night. We have a puzzle of the month. The person who puts the last piece, we are taking pictures of them, asking them if they would like to be on Facebook. They say yes, we put it on Facebook. We also had our Infinite Company, and that is an organization from McAllen that comes in and gives financial advice or lessons to the adults. Just kind of like what the kids have dollars and cents at Southmost, but this one is for the Mexican consulate also came by to the Southmost branch and they had a posada. there with them, and they were giving out free stuff. Free things for the kids.
Is it possible to have the Mexican complex at both facilities next year?
We can try. I mean, I think it was first.
It was, they had selected to go to Southmost because it was their community that they were trying to serve, to give underprivileged families, opportunities to get presents and whatnot. So they reached out to us, not us to them, and they specifically asked for that area.
Okay.
That's how it started. That's how they came. Next slide.
Can I ask a question about the Infinite Company? I'm curious about what was the term for the financial counseling one? What was the, how did that come about? What was the turnout like? What was the sort of feedback?
They're in communication with Jose, the other librarian, but at Southmost. Because right now they're only having those classes at Southmost. There was talk that they were gonna come to Maine and do it as well, but we haven't coordinated a date yet. But it is on my agenda.
They actually reached out to us.
Okay.
And we also didn't go to them. They came over to us because about 3 years ago, right before COVID, they had started wanting to do outreach themselves and giving back to the community. And the purpose was, to give some financial education classes to the public. And so we had started it. They seemed like it was getting a bit of a groove there, but COVID happened, so we had to cancel. So they're starting up again. And so once again, they reached out and we just want to do financial literacy.
Gotcha. And are they a nonprofit? I guess I'm not.
Yes.
Okay. Because I would just point out too, I mean, I know in Brownsville, there's different nonprofits that also do financial counseling. If they're ever looking at, there's more interest and it starts organically growing, there might be some other groups, I think locally you might want to participate.
Is there a directory of nonprofits in which we can tap into and?
Well, I know, for instance, CDCB comes to mind. They do financial and housing counseling here based out of Brownsville.
But I mean, is there a directory that you know of that I know we have quite a few nonprofits.
That I'm aware of. Well, I mean, there's like general ones you can look up, like GuideStar or something, but I think there's ways you can look up just nonprofits in the area. I think there's some known for specifically financial counseling.
And I do have.
That's always a need for that.
Yeah, no, I do have somebody there because a lady, she also did part in one of the outreach programs. She's like, hey, look, here's my info, call me so I can go to them and give financial advice.
Right.
I suppose my question is not so much who the nonprofit organizations are, but who do they connect with in the community in the Southmost area? For example, do we pass this information on to the library so that kids know, or PTAs, or maybe they have a health clinic there, perhaps, a flyer, something that would perpetuate or enhance the encouragement to attend. It's so important. I love to hear it on TV when they have the 12 o'clock news and they have financial advice, and I knew that, but or maybe I didn't, you learn every time you hear it. So just keep in mind, and my suggestion, my 2 cents is that whoever comes in as a nonprofit, that they have some networking with the community that's involved in the neighborhoods, because maybe the project, could get some of the parents to come in for a meeting at the library, and it also exposes them to our facility.
We will be talking some more.
And I'm new, so I don't know anything, but I'm just saying, it's so important. That's a winner, that's a winner conversation to have, and a presentation for all people, everybody, all of us.
Well, I'm curious, what was the turnout for that one?
Which one?
The Infinite Company.
Infinite.
We have the.
Just I'm curious.
It was a small group. I don't have the exact number. It was a small group, but they're barely starting off, so we're hoping it's gonna pick up momentum. And plus, as Ms. Bena said, we do need to advertise more. It's just they came to assessment it and they already had it in mind. So hopefully, with us building this partnership, we do get a bigger crowd.
And it behooves them, because I think for every signature, that's supportive evidence for them, because if they're a nonprofit, they have to make sure they have.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, it's something that I guess we're just starting.
That's an excellent idea.
So as far as that slide that reads extracurricular activities in December, the presentation is adult services. The extracurricular, is that something that isn't a reoccurring thing? I know Christmas Carol movie is not going to be reoccurring come January, but I'm kind of wondering, the puzzle of the month is that's a reoccurring thing, is it not?
Yeah, it is. It is.
And karaoke night, are we having that
Every month.
every month? So,
Yes.
so then those, I guess, first three are what would really be considered the extra for the month of December? Okay, I just wanted clarification there. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think when I was doing this presentation, my main focus, well, as it is, right, because of the numbers too, is the cooking classes and the computer classes. So everything else, that's why I put it.
Okay, I
That's
just,
the other things that we also do.
The enhancement of your activities, that's great.
And because we would like to diversify these, I don't want to give or have the same thing every single month. Like there has to be a little bit of.
I'm impressed. Maybe it's my first day, but I'm impressed. That is wonderful.
just.
I know, this is the first one. I can't wait till the last one.
And so for this year.
Yeah.
Beginning February. We're gonna have something called The Heart Matters. And again, public health is, they really like coming here to have these cooking classes and they want to continue coming this year. So we want to do something where we can educate the people about how to take care of our hearts, right? And I'm also going to be in communication and getting other organizations, vendors of people who can come in on the same day, set a table and promote their free services to the public. So I'm already in contact with the lady. She responded.
By chance, would there be in your contacts, Brownsville Wellness Coalition?
I don't know, but I can do that. Brownsville Wellness.
Wellness Coalition,
They run the farmers market.
right, that's one of the many things, but they do promote healthy eating. And for Parks and Recreation, they have a wellness there off of 7th Street too, so I don't know if that's
Boys and Girls Club.
correct.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people.
Right.
We can come in and join. And I would like for it to be at least indoors for right now. At least indoors and see how many people come. And again, it'll be free for the public. Free. Afterwards, we're gonna have a photo contest themed about Child Days, and again, promoting adults. Take pictures in your Child Day suit. And whoever wins the contest, this photo contest, will get a prize too. In the month of March, actually April, we are gonna have a classical music concert. They're right now the musicians they're preparing, they actually came to me and said, hey, Betha, can we do this? I really want to help Brownsville get inspired with classical music and teach them. And I said, well, yeah, sure. And he went into the meeting room, he tried his flute, he was playing, and he said, it's perfect. He said it was amazing that it's gonna sound awesome.
Yeah, meeting room in the entrance.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be here at the concert, and we're in constant communication. And so we're gonna see how we promote it.
I have some question about that. Curious. Who is the group that approached y'all?
Well, right now it's not a group, but David Gonzalez, he's the one playing the flute.
Okay.
And he has friends who are band directors. And so they are gonna come up with the music, and so it's not a group yet. He's
He's putting it together.
putting it
I don't
together.
think it sounds familiar. Where is he? Is he? Okay, he's just
I don't know.
I know
I know, so.
he checks out a lot of, okay,
He does.
The local, he's one of the local, from this university.
okay, okay,
They do a lot of the concerts there at the university
okay.
ensemble.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, the university has, even in Brownsville, they have musician professors of music and they have concerts here at the TSC. So I absolutely hope that we do move to something like that. Right? I mean, it used to, 100 years ago, I used to live in Boston. Some of the there were art museums that would do this like a monthly thing, where they would have a kind of like it was like a happy hour, but it could just be coffee or pastries. And they would have like a different group performing once a month. It just kind of created a nice ensemble. And we do have a lot of talent in the community. There's I know, for instance, there's also, there's the Roca, I think, group downtown Brownsville. There's an all-female mariachi group, the Margaritas is kind of valley-based. I think there's a lot of group that could be showcased for something like
Yeah, right now, we were just approached by
that. Yeah.
classical music people, right?
And there's people, I think there's a hunger for that, especially for kids and introducing, kids to classical music and, right, I think there would be, if you ever need ideas, please let me know. I mean, I'm always trying to find ideas for my kids and I have private tutors and I've done everything I think Brownsville has to offer for them. So yeah, if you ever need ideas.
Is that a venue in which you would display books or whatever the library has as far as offerings concerning any subject matter having to do with classical music? Is that something in which
We could,
you can promote literacy somehow, a tie-in to literacy? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Can I make one comment? I'm sorry, I'm from the Friends of the Library. Whenever they have events like this, I try to change all of our displays so they kind of fit with it. So that way, they can get the kids entertained as well. That's one of the things I started with the calendars.
Just a comment, not a question. I'm a former high school principal of a fine arts school. And they would tell me that there's a very high correlation between fine arts and literacy. And that most of the children that were in band, mariachi, choir, it was a fine arts school, that most of those kids would become medical doctors. So the field of medical or medicine is very apropos for the children that have a love and a passion for fine arts. So that's just something to know.
Next one.
Well,
Cultures band.
Oh, yeah. Well, we need more options.
and so I think I should have put the next one before the classical music one. But for the month of March, that is when spring begins. And so we're gonna have like a spring cleaning workshop. I was again approached by a patron who said, hey, do you guys want to give out lessons on how to make your own soap? Stuff like that. Hey, that sounds like a really good idea. I wanted to do something about spring cleaning for the month of March. Do you want to come? She said yes. So we're gonna work on that. And if she doesn't, I'm gonna look up something. I like to do DIY and we can come up with it. There are two, I wanted to bring in some financial education awareness classes for this year. Either with my contacts or the ones that are already going, that's to Southmost. And like today, right now, I'm supposed to be, I'm gonna be going to a game night that we have that we're gonna be having today. It's called the New Year, New Me box game. And so just very quickly, the people are gonna be adults only. I said 18 plus. We're gonna check to see that their library cards are in good standing, and if not, they can sign up for one. And they get a chance to only choose 2 boxes out of the 5, put their hand in and get 2 chances to guess what it is. If they guess it correctly, they win. Not, anymore. Kind of like that. I'm like that.
Can they be books, just all of them books, just to mess with them?
Well, I want to do something in regards to like the new year. People want to do.
A trip to Vegas.
That's and so I want to do a game night like this, in a different way, right, of course. Every month, so that they can have fun and also sign up for library cards, or to at least clear themselves, you know, turn in books or pay their fines or something. So those are my expectations of this year. I wanted to. For right now.
Going back to financial awareness, you might want to reach out to Porter Early College High School. They have a group of kids that they have them go through training and help with the filing of income tax returns. So that might be something in which you can have one evening.
Vida.
Vida, yeah.
It's through,
United Way.
the other
United
organization.
Way, yes.
United Way,
Yeah,
yeah.
United Way.
As well, so.
Hannah too.
All
There you
like
go.
United Way might be something we want to contribute.
And it's a CAPE program, just in case you don't get through the principal, go through the CTE office and ask for Dr. Chavez, Juan Chavez. And tell them that, you know, what your intentions are, and he'll help you, very helpful.
Thank you. So then for movie nights, I think I just wanted to create a list so that we can also advertise for the rest of the year. To maybe the universities or the university, college facilities. And let them know, like, hey, like, whenever you have a time off, why don't you guys come and watch a movie? Like, sometimes they put movies out there for the kids, and we'll be giving them the popcorn and something to drink. Same thing with the seniors who want to go to the early bird movies or just to the movie theaters and they end up going by themselves. Don't go, we'll give you popcorn and ice tea. It's free here, come here.
Trying to put the theater out of business.
So
Y'all used to do this, but with their, I know with COVID probably shut it down, because last year there weren't any movies, right?
Yes.
There were movies last year? Okay. I remember taking my kids.
slowly, we've been,
So, yeah,
yeah, so now we started making popcorn, pickles and tea for.
sweet drink, yeah.
So, but for these movie nights, this list, is it a certain age?
I
Is there
would
a-
make it PG-13 and, well, PG, but if it's PG, it's because it's a movie from back then. See, I try to put movies from different years and also like recommended from film critics too. Like, for example, I know some people who still haven't seen Gone with the Wind, and I think that's amazing. Or Rocky, maybe. Right, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. However, it was recommended to also watch The Theory of Everything, which is about the story of Stephen Hawking. Top Gun, right? Forrest Gump, Armageddon. There's a list, and I mean, it could change a little bit. I have to see. But as of right now, that's what I have, and I think it'll be really good to show those.
And those that are books made to movie, I mean, that would be also something in which you can.
Yes. So I'm gonna, you see, I should put a little display, right? Like whenever we're watching the movie. So we also have a book version of it. Yes, ma'am. When you asked me a previous question too, right? Question earlier about.
Having to.
And I think
Litters. It's my librarian's hat here.
Something about books.
Well, the other thing too is, there's Black History Month, February, Hispanic sort of History Month. That could be another idea for that month's theme.
That's true, yeah.
Well, see, that's why I put Selma for this month
Mhm.
because of Martin Luther King.
There you go.
For September, I think the movie about Cesar Chavez would
Yeah.
be
More
very
appropriate.
good because it is Hispanic Heritage
Heritage.
Month.
Heritage Month.
September, you said, yeah.
Mhm.
Cesar Chavez.
And it's free.
But I like to watch documentaries, so I think. And so our computer classes will continue. Each course is 3 months long, so we're gonna have it 3 times this year. During those. And in these classes, we're gonna continue to offer North Star for instruction and certification. And we're also gonna be continuing to help to provide individual help to all of these adults and still have that classroom experience saying, oh, la maestra, there's a teacher. So, yes, they'll get that help both individually and in classrooms.
North Star was the program that you could do at home and then take the exam here.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and so we already had one person who got certified for Microsoft Word. She took the test and she got her certificate.
Awesome.
What is the date on the classes?
So we started on January the 3rd.
Okay.
And it's gonna be every single Tuesday of those months. I think there's only 1 month that, yeah, a Tuesday is a holiday, I think on July the 3rd.
It was already out. They have posted the schedule on social media and they have copies in the brand as well.
Oh, there you go.
Who does the teaching, the classes?
I do, well, we have it at both branches. I do other staff members, Josh and Orlando.
Okay. And at the Southmost, I believe it's Jose.
And I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, continuing with our library reports, youth services.
So hi, my name is Phoebe. I guess to just give a recap, for those that, are new. We do, I don't have the slides for it, but on, Tuesdays, we do have kids night. So I know that's something that we do monthly. So if it's, related to science or art, we do that, at both branches. We do have story times on Wednesdays. So we do have one at 11, here at Maine, and that's 6. Southmost is at 6 p.m. And then we do have monthly scavenger hunts. So I know those have been very popular. So pretty much we hide tools around the children's department and they get to get a prize from the treasure box. Next slide. So right now, we did have some new furniture. So Southmost has been completed. I know they pretty much started with their little chairs and they got tables. And so the final was the computer tables. So at the bottom, the green ones are the ones from Southmost. So there's a little bit more colorful than what we had. And then at Maine, right now, I am currently working on, I did get some tables and we did get some computer tables. And so I'm just working on maybe fixing the space a little bit with adding more color to the walls, because they're wallpapers. It's old, I don't know how old it is.
Since we opened.
Yes, so I'm working on that, and then, next one. So we finished Christmas, so now right now we're currently working on Easter, so we have, a yearly program, which we call it extravaganza. So we do an outdoor Easter egg hunt for both branches, and a picture with the Easter bunny, and they do get, a little gift bag that has a book inside and a couple of pieces of candy. And then we do like to give out snacks. We're still working on that right now, so we haven't finalized that yet. Right now, the dates that we do have, in work, I guess, is March 21st, that's Southmost, and March 28th. We usually do it a week apart, just for staffing, it's easier for us. So, we do have that, and then next slide. So for Christmas, we did do a sensory friendly hour, picture with Santa. So this year, we're gonna try to do the same for Easter. So the day after the regular program, it's gonna be an hour also at Southmost and an hour here, and it's the day after. So pretty much the noise level is quieter and it's easier, for anybody that has sensory, and then I know going back to how we were talking about like music classes or like art workshops, I know for summer we're gonna be working on that as well. So for children's, hopefully, I mean, it's nothing set yet, but I know we're looking to maybe possibly getting like art workshops or from like an outside someone that can actually come and do it professionally or has more knowledge than we do. I mean, we can pair it with books. I know that's something that was offered that I think BISD sometimes.
Like looking for an artist, is that what you're
Yeah.
trying to paint, someone that
Yeah,
paints?
somebody that can because of how a lot of numbers that we get during summer, maybe it can be we do have art contests, so maybe like the prize is, that art workshop, so we kind of, it doesn't, we don't select, certain people, so it goes based up on a contest. So it's still something that, we wanna.
Well, there's, I forgot the name of it, my wife has been, I think there's an art studio, it's like part restaurant, part like, there are places in Brownsville that,
Mhm.
right, that like
Yeah.
have
The
art class.
Museum of Fine Art,
Yeah, while you're.
So I know that's something that,
Right.
and some of their people, their artists are willing to come help. I know there's one in particular. I know there's a gentleman out there that does beautiful sketching. He just wonderful work. He's there here almost every day.
every time I pass by.
Yeah, he does wonderful. He used to go to the museum and my wife was a member there and they paint together, but he stopped going because for financial reasons, he says, but he does beautiful work.
How about, is it Alex, the one who did the mural for Southmost? Did I get the name right?
Yes.
Right, Alex, would that be someone?
Yeah.
Who you can approach?
Yeah, I mean, we're still, right now, it's still early on, so we're working on that, yeah. And then going back to the music, I know somebody recently, I think it was last week, it's called Juan and the Key Lines. We were actually looking it up earlier today, so they do music, and they teach with music. So I know that's something that he came and offered to do maybe or work together to do some programs for summer reading. So that's another thing that we do want to include in our summer programs, just to help.
Yeah, I think right across the street, little Mozart's too.
Yeah.
Brownsville Piano
Yeah.
Studio, there's little musicians.
We'll be working on.
I have a question though. So going back to Christmas, just curious, overall, looking in December, right, any sort of lessons learned about how the Christmas activities went or anything to do differently maybe next year? Just for the record.
So I think the only thing we would do different is just change the location of where we took photos. Because it got kind of crowded.
Yeah.
So we're definitely gonna look into that, which is what we're looking at for Easter. We're gonna probably change the location for here at least. I know Southmost is a little bit more open space. Here there's furniture, so we're gonna have to move around just to see what works. And then, yeah, I mean, I feel like that's the most. And then
Their Halloween project they had was just,
the trunk.
the numbers were crazy, right? Yeah, for that
Yeah.
Halloween.
Yes,
Yeah,
it was good.
yeah, it was good. It was good. It was good. And y'all did a good job running it, but the number of participants was just, wow.
Yeah, that's it pretty much. Question?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, good report. Teen services,
Hi, my name is Daniela Garcia. I'm the Teen Services Librarian. During my presentation, I will talk about the December activities and what is coming soon. The first one was a craft day. During this day, we have creation stations in both branches. They were able to create like ornaments from cities and also Christmas poster card for the loved ones. The next one was the teen night. For this activity, we have a good turnout. We were making like a macrame friendship bracelet and personalized earrings. And we have a good turnout as well. It was so nice because I see like middle school graders helping teens and even some adults that show up, they were like helping me to teach them and how to do it. They were very creative. They make those avocado earrings. Another team were able, I don't know how, the earring like macrame with beads. That was so cute. And they really enjoy it. They like to do manual stuff. So they stay, a lot of people, they make bracelets, they make keychains, they make a lot of stuff. They have a lot of fun, and I was so happy to see them helping each other, get a little bit, know them more. At the beginning, it was a little bit hard to teach them, but then when they get it, they were making longer and longer. So we have so much fun. The last one for the month, we have the Teen Anime Club. This one, we have it every month, the teen night as well, but the teen night I changed between craft, between game night, to give them by, different stuff to do. For this time on the Teen Anime Club, we had a treasure hunt for teens, and my purpose was for them to have fun, but as well to know the lab, to get, know the library. So what we did was we put different pieces of the treasure hunt around the library. They need to go to the DVD area, to where the nonfiction books are, to the juvenile graphic novel, to the adult graphic novel, to the teens graphic novel, the YA section graphic novels. But they were able to get to know more about the library and about the services that we had, and they had a lot of fun. We have a really good turnout on that one too. We have giveaways, and we see the movie, How the Moving Castle. And we even have a team that she came dresses as one of the characters of the movie. I really enjoy it, and I think they enjoy it as well. Also, I saw teens helping other teens, because the last clue was really hard because they have to have some knowledge about how we classify the books. So they have to go to the 700 number and then look to find the last clue for them. And then coming soon, we're gonna have our Teen Advisory Council first meeting on January 31. We already are been promoting these on our libraries as well. During the book every Christmas, we put flyers inside the YA bags, and as well we are going to make a Facebook post closer to the day. So I am expecting a good turnout for this one.
For that one, did you already, you've selected the teens for it, or is this all?
From previous activity that teens, I asked to them and they were interested into it. I will make a mass email to them so they, will be aware when gonna be that is gonna be here. But as well, I make it open to see if I get more, because I have 12 emails, but I would like to have a little bit more teens. So that's why I'm promoted open to see.
Is there a cap for this council? How many you're gonna max?
I would like to have anything to 10, max 20, not too many, but yes. But I have 12 email. Let's see how many of them will show up. And then.
And
To everybody, and is it gonna be the same group of teens every?
Yes, I expect that. But let's see what will be the turnout.
I guess for maybe next month, and I think it's great you're getting this started. I mean, I think I have a teenager. I know there's a drop off once the library as the kids get older. So I definitely think it's a good first step. But just things to think about going forward is, we want some good representations around, across different high schools, right, in Brownsville. So it's not, it's just, I think that might be a good goal. And I'm just curious to know in terms of the, how many boys, how many girls, what schools they're from, those kind of things.
What is the starting age? You're starting at 13, or is it
13,
towards
yeah.
more
We-
high school or middle school and high school?
We go from the range 13 to like 17, 18, because
Okay.
sometimes they came in at 18, so yeah, like 13 to, but they need to be like middle school or high school.
Okay.
Okay, and it's like, I guess the kids are being dropped off or like, I mean, are the parents sort of expect, have you gotten questions?
Came in and drop off the teens.
Okay,
Other ones, they like join us as well with the teens, and I really like to see that they, get, other ones, they just let them and they stay around. For the treasure hunt, I saw some parents that they stay like around, watching them because they were all over the library. But yeah, I have like mixed sometimes, and at Salmos, it's not like the parent with the teens. Here is more, they left the teens. I have a lot of teens by themselves.
And when they're 18, they drive themselves, so, they're pretty much on their own. Hats off, because the teenagers are the hardest to get involved in library activities. I mean,
But for this Teen Anime Club, we have a really good turnout.
I was gonna ask you,
2014.
anime is good and strong still.
Yes, 2014. And they were so happy, they were enjoying it, they were happy with the little prizes, with the giveaway as well. And they were all around the library, I was, doing rounds too, and they were asking me, oh, where I can find this, and I tried to explain them, like how we organize things, so they will get better.
wow, congratulations, because especially when they're in high school, they're involved in AP classes, they're involved in dual classes. And so they require a lot of research. And so they need assistance in getting the research materials that they need to make their thesis or their whatever the project is. So hats off. These are extra and on and beyond. These are the kids that live in the library at their school, they don't really do a lot of activities because of that. So
Right, and I
Yeah.
think too, the pandemic set them back. We now have in place and have now for the second year, social emotional learning. And so to hear how they're interacting with one another and helping them out, they're not that social ineptness,
well,
it's.
can I ask a question about that? I'm curious to know, because I think there's a lot you could do with this. I mean, is the idea that the kids are sort of running it themselves about how to make the library more, like, what is sort of the purpose of the council? Is it sort of how to make the library more welcoming to other teenagers?
It's also what ideas they have,
They
what activities they would like to take from me.
Right.
Yes, and I will try to identify in what they need help.
Right.
So for that, I need to, right now, in every activity, I try to talk to them, get feedback from them, but I think the council will help me more to figure it out what they want from the library.
But I think it sounds like you might be the facilitator for some of these meetings. I think going following what Cynthia was saying, just to make sure you're trying to get everyone involved and talking. I'm sure you know that already, but
I'm trying to do that. With these 3 activities, we have 70 teams in total in both branches.
wow.
So I was so happy about the turnout. And then also another thing that I would like to work is get them to read. So I've been working in different displays as well on, like, I don't know if y'all heard about the blind jar. Each one we are putting, like, in the YA section books, blind jars. So if they don't know what to read, they can choose a paper, and it's like by nonfiction, fiction, graphic novel. So we are working on that. For the first one, we just have like 5 checkouts at Salmos, and here just 6. So, but I hope we doing consistently, we get more of them. Also for the treasure hunt, they get an extra entry to the giveaway if they check out a book. So we get 6 checkout books. So I try to bribe them to make them participate, to make them talk to me, because I would like to know what they want.
I don't know if they said like this at the high schools. I know you all are at the high schools, but I know my son just finished 8th grade last year. There's still the AR in 8th grade, the accelerated reader. And it was all, some of the, like some of these kids, they're always looking for the, the books with the highest number of points, it's hard to find those. Even something like that, or having it posted somewhere like, these are the points you could be with.
Some of our books in the catalog, they have the accelerated reading numbers.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
How's that communicated back to the school? Because they do get prizes. That it's very motivating. I see my grandchildren and I'm in the top 10 in the AP or in the AR or I'm number 1 and that's a source of pride. Are you kidding? So whatever they do here, if we communicate it to the teacher or to the principal.
I think it's the.
They have to take.
the computer.
Yeah, they have to take a
It's
test.
in there,
So, yeah.
then even better. Awesome.
I have a question. I was just wondering, do we still have the book club for our teens? We used to have book club. Is that something that we're looking into, like maybe starting again? Because I think that could be something, and maybe do like a book challenge. And then at the end of the month, or even like the 3-month book challenge, at the end of the 3 months, they can get a prize, maybe a free ticket to Makerspace. I don't know, something that's involved with the library.
It's a really good idea. I will work with that around that. Thank you so much for the details.
And we'll have one council for both facilities or one for each,
It's gonna be just one.
okay?
For now, one. Let's see how it starts. I'm gonna start here. Any other question for me?
So
Thank you
just,
so much for your attention.
so for this very first meeting, we can go back and tell high schoolers we know, the teens, like they can just drop by that day. It's open right now, that first one.
You wouldn't consider how the way you do us, alternate, going from one library to the other as far as your meeting?
Yes, that's what the initial idea is, go one here and one at Samos, but I would try to have the same group of teams, so let's see how we can make it work, because they don't drive,
Yeah, parents have to drop them off.
first, and then I part of that. to see
Right.
How we can make that work for them and for me.
Yeah.
Any other question to me? Thank you so much for your attention.
Good report. Next on our agenda, Makerspace Services.
Hello, everybody, Anthony. Let's get some updates. So, as maybe some of you might already know or might not know, we have our Glowforge machines, a laser engraver, laser cutter at both branches. We've had a great number of questions come in pretty much every day of how they can start using it, what are the requirements, is there a charge? So just to pretty much wrap all that up, have our first demo event on February 13th. They'll be able to see the Glowforge in action, a chance to use it if they still want to, and take home a creation of their own. After that event, the Glow will publicly announce it, and it'll be they'll be able to come in and use it. We're still working on the details to if they have to schedule an appointment, if you can just come in while there's staff available. So that's still in the works. But it is free to use if they bring in their own materials, and there'll only be a charge if they need a material that we have to provide for them. We're still working on the detail of the pricing on that, so that's still in the works. And then we have some examples of some of the things that you can do on there. Next slide. So here's some other Glowforge projects that we've made. Actually, the one on the right with the tattoo artist, that was our first patron requested. They brought in the material. They also brought in the design. It's
Is it a magnet or what?
it's made on acrylic, a black acrylic. So what it's for tattoo artists while they're working. If somebody comes in while they're busy, they will be able to scan that QR code and book an appointment.
Oh, it's like a business card.
Yeah, so it's a big old business card. I want to say, yeah.
It's a standee.
Until probably
Yeah.
on his window or on his counter.
Yeah, the patron, they designed it, they designed everything, and then we went back and forth based on the samples that we made as to what needed to be fixed, and then we were able to get the final product out for them. And then the other things on they're outside of the Makerspace office if you want to take a look at all the samples. And so one of the top one is leather, the bottom left is on ceramic, and then the one in the middle is a box made out of different panels. There's a design on each of the panel and they interlock together to form this box.
And so they glow,
Yeah, they're glued together, but
they glow.
No,
Oh,
they
no,
don't
no,
glow.
it's laser
It's
engraved.
laser.
They're engraved.
I was like,
Yes.
oh,
Excuse my ignorance, but are you competing with some businesses? I see banners and signs and engraving like that, you know, in different plaques or I don't know if that's even related. I don't know.
they offer.
Competing with them?
No, we're, the goal is to allow people to come in and bring their own stuff and, you know, figure out how they can do it themselves rather than dishing out all this extra money just
Sure.
to have somebody do it.
Sure.
A lot of the things that they go out and to these companies to do, they can do it themselves fairly easily. And we've had, like, for example, like the heat presses that we do. It's just a matter of, hey, I want this design on it. Well, let me show you how to use these machines to cut it out.
On the presses, what did you say?
We have a heat press so that.
Like
T-shirts, yeah, you can do t-shirts, caps, mugs, pretty much anything on.
Oh,
Yes.
and is there a limit?
There.
If I brought something tomorrow? No, I'm joking.
It honestly, it just depends, like first, usually they'll ask us, oh, this is what I wanna do, how can I, like, what do I need to bring? So we'll break it down for them, okay. Based on the material that you want, this is what you need to bring, this is how you need to slow it down, or what you need to change, like, for example, that plaque. It was like a week worth of back and forth, okay, like this works on this, but you need to, you know, there's too much detail on the skull, you need to bring it down a little bit. And we finally came to something that was feasible to engrave on the acrylic before.
Cups,
You do cups, yes.
tumblers and all that.
Tumbler is the only thing that the machine won't do. But we are working on getting a much larger laser engraver and cutter that will be able to do bigger projects.
Wow.
But following up with that, I mean, is there, I mean, it sounds like this is sort of personal use is fine, but if. I mean, is there a cap on like orders, like if someone wants 100 mugs?
As long as they're doing it themselves, that we will teach you how to do it. We'll provide the machine, but.
What's the pricing again? Have we talked about that?
As far as like this one is concerned, we haven't finalized the pricing on that just yet, because usually what we tell them to do is, okay, it's a lot cheaper if you bring the material, we'll tell them where to get it. And next day they're here with their supplies and.
So they're bringing their own materials, then they're just running it on the.
Yeah, it's more cost effective to bring your own materials than to ones that, right, I mean. It just depends on how much you're making. Like,
Sorry, but then eventually that will be, it sounds like there is a cost to using the library's machines.
not the machines,
Okay.
just the material.
Because the machine was bought through a grant, it's built for Archie's like special projects grant, so that we can show the community how to build to get the STEAM engagement to our patrons so that they can get more involved with manufacturing and learning different job skills that are required for today's market.
But I guess if, like, let's say, you know, if you want to just expand access, if one person's running 100 things versus, you know, what I mean, is there a limit, I guess, for that? Like if there's some people behind them want to use it and someone's running 100, whatever on it.
Yeah, at that point is when we would cap on it, yeah, it's like.
Has it happened or?
No, it hasn't happened just yet. We do have our regulars that will request 3D prints every other day, but there's not a huge wait list for that, so we get there, most of their stuff is really small, we get it out by the next day and.
It's every regulars.
Yeah.
Every regular.
What did you have?
Stand there and do the work themselves. I mean, we had the one girl, ladies that came and did what, 10, 15 shirts?
Yeah, they did 10-50 shirts, we just showed them how to use the machine and they were pressing their shirts and cutting out the vinyl themselves. I was just there to supervise it, they had a question.
How long have you had this service?
Full, like which one, like the laser?
Yeah, mhm.
Say December.
December, okay, so it's
A month.
new.
Yeah.
Is there a way in which we can have like a library fair of services?
That is what,
Just-
uh,
There's so many good things happening. Is there a way in which we can highlight, you know, one Saturday afternoon, evening, don't hold me to any of that, but as far as having these displays of what all the library has to offer?
one of our goals, or at least for the makerspace, is each month moving forward, we'll be highlighting one of our services. to, just further expand, or maybe some people don't know the service is there, or they forgot that we have it, just to come in as a refresher or expose new people to it. So every month, so like the first month for February, it's the Glow Forge, the next one will be the 3D printers, the next month the heat press, and so on and so forth, as we get new tech in.
Especially too, it's almost like you need like a quick intro class,
Yes,
right?
Right.
Like presentation,
Right.
like do it as a group.
yeah, that's kind of how, like, when we did the 3D printing, we had a demo, we showed them what the process is, and from there, we started getting requests pretty much the next day.
This is great. My granddaughter's an athlete. I'm gonna get, I'm Lorena's friend.
Yeah, I think one of the ladies that came in, she made her own shirt for her daughter to say, it's like, I'm so and so's mom, with the number on the back. She wore it the next day to the game.
We need to get this information. When she says, we need to make sure that that's a well-known fact that what library services offer. I also feel that perhaps in the newspaper, if they came and they did something, I'm so saturated with bad news. I want to hear good news,
I'm just thinking of, how the way we have, when we started off a school year, it's open house and we get to learn who the teachers are. And it would be kind of nice to have, yes, go ahead and spread it out throughout the whole year, but have it one night in which you are just showcasing, this is us.
The library.
The
Get to know the
library.
library.
Yes,
Library
exactly.
services.
Even then, the attendance may be limited, but at least if I read it somewhere in the newspaper, maybe the Facebook, I don't know, if people get on
Social media.
or social.
One of the things that we found, especially during our Christmas programs, is our technical services department actually set up a table. And so they were interacting with their patrons and showcasing our services. And it's amazing how many showed up and didn't really know everything that there is to offer. So what did we learn from that? We need to, even though we're in our building, we're gonna start setting up a table outside and then having tech services at least. We're gonna start off with at least once a month, trying to be out there and kind of doing a fair and featuring the different services that we
But even
have. And
once a
little by-
year.
Yeah, little by little, grow it a little bit.
A centerfold in the newspaper, a centerfold, maybe a one page.
We do have, and I highlighting, might talk about this, but we do still continue to do outreaches and share information with the community, but I'll let her do that later, but.
But bad news travels more than good news. This is good. This is excellent.
But just so you know, that is something in our plan that we just started up for December.
Awesome. Next slide.
There's more.
There is. So, we started off January doing a STEAM week based around space. It wasn't your traditional STEAM week where you had it was all techie. It was more of a space exploration. So they created their own little dioramas based on what they saw in the videos. And then they learned about the creation of the solar system through folklore, and then also traditional stories told by the family in the videos. So it was a great turnout. We had a total of 125 participants throughout the entire week. And the feedback was pretty good. Everybody was really excited after watching the video. They were like, is there more? What else is there? Like, what are you doing next tomorrow? People kept coming back. So, and then the next thing we will be doing, still in the works, but we're trying to create like a tech zoo. So they'll be able to explore all the different technologies that we have. We have robotics, 3D printing, pretty much a highlight of all our services, but all at once, so people can just go from station to station and get a little more hands-on. It's in the works, but that's our plan for our next theme week. And just a quick recap of our upcoming events. The Glowforge demo on the 13th of February, and then we have a fun event. We're doing mini canvases based, because since that day falls on a Pokemon Day, we're doing Pokemon Day mini canvases. And then they'll be able to paint their own unique designs on miniature canvases, which they can then take home or leave here and decorate the space. And then, like I mentioned before, each month we'll be highlighting a different service for Makerspace, and as well as having a fun event afterward, maybe pertaining to that or something completely.
Are these gonna be at both libraries or is it?
All these events are both.
Okay.
Yes. And that's pretty much it.
Questions? Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great project.
Thank you.
Our next item on our agenda is outreach.
My name is Courtney Timmer. I'm the library services coordinator for both of your branches. In December, we took on the holiday spirit and went a little gung ho with outreach, but hopefully it helps to connect to a lot of our patrons. The first event that we went to was the Washington Park tree lighting in efforts with our Parks Department to be able to show library cards and initiatives. Our bags included free bilingual books, hats, and different bookmarks that included our databases and other. We're able to see Rosette and Alexis speaking to all of our public as they did a big vendor event along with different like Roca and everybody doing music and lights. This is one of the 3 top tree lightings that we do here in Brownsville. And this specific event, we were able to see over 506 patrons. Next slide. Also on the same day, we were able to help BCHC to do a Welcome Migrants Health Fair, which Miss Maribel and Miss Ruth went to because they asked for inclusion of our notary services. We were able to do 2 raffles with them that included some 3D printed bags that Makerspace made for us, as well as a book light and a book themed like blanket throw. We were able to get additional library cards served to them, as well as give them the information of our generalized services. This is the 4th event that we've worked with PCHC to do, including our zoo events that you've seen previously. On this event, we were able to see 52 people. They expected a higher turnout, but this is around the time that we started to have our freezes here in Brownsville. So everybody definitely enjoyed the hat because it was cold. Next slide, please. Our next event for Christmas was our Market Square tree lighting. Miss Maribel helped with myself and Miss Angie from our regular services. We were able to see over 711 patrons. In order to get our specialized bag, they had to answer library questions. So it was easy to do a survey throughout our patronage to see what they know about our services right now, what they've seen as inclusive, what their favorite parts of the libraries were. And if you kind of see Miss Maribel hung back and kind of laughed at me because I would always get down and ask the kids, all right, so what's the best thing about the library? And if they told me books, I was like, okay, but have you seen the Makerspace? Have you gone to Teen Anime Night? Have you seen our movie times? Have you been able to enjoy us since COVID and really been in our new modern spaces for our libraries? And it was interesting to see which kids knew how to interact with our different 3D prints, which ones knew exactly which Pokemon it was and were able to help us that way. We ran out of our bags super fast within an hour and a half. And we did try to do additional library cards at this event, but because it was more people packed, it was harder to have that inclusive time with them, especially since we tend to be right next to the stage and they're quite loud. You see this, you see the different presenters there for different music inclusion, including different high schools, middle schools, and Roca as well. Next slide, please. On the 20th, we were able to do a presentation with the ISD Migrant Families meeting again. They did ask us back. This is the 2nd time that we've had inclusion with them. You see Miss Amanda reading the story. We had both children's and teen crafts that were able to go thanks to Serenade and Kayla, who had extra ones for us to be able to entertain our patronage. While they were doing that, Jose Gonzalez, who's the librarian over at Southmost for Adult Services, was able to talk to the parents about different services and getting their library cards there. For this event, we were able to see 142 people, and they have requested that we come for an additional 2 more times.
They really love how we've adapted past what they traditionally did, which was just show a movie for the kids in the other room. So they've asked that we come back bigger and better and include more of our library family. Next slide, please. We were able to join the Run with Senna event over at Gonzalez Park. This is one of the first times that they decided to light up Gonzalez Park in that manner this year, which was really cool to see. This was in conjunction with the Choice Southmost community events that were happening here, where they had different runners go and do exercise with the Blue Santa Claus from TV. And we actually had 2 different Santa Clauses come, as well as a Pirate Santa Claus. So through part of the event, you had Red, Blue, and Pirate Santa running around entertaining the children, as well as seeing different liaisons that we've worked with the past, like our bibliotech locations were there, Housing Authority was there, Woohoo was there. So a lot of literacy organizations were here to help our community. For the Run with Santa, we were able to see 141 people, as well as give out different bilingual books, again, having to do with the theme of gift giving and community service. Next slide. So our adult services is starting to go to adult daycares to kind of have a literacy day with them. This time it was our librarian from Southmost, Mr. Jose Gonzalez, was able to go to La Plaza, spoke to them about different books, as well as did an adult craft with them. They have requested that he come back in the future, and he's working on seeing what kind of books we can get away with our staffing. He was able to see over 72 people there, as well as they have requested that this branch do that as well. So you should be seeing future reports from Ms. Bertha as well.
I have a question. When it comes to working with like, senior citizens, for instance, is there, do you take books to events like this, or are there large print books you have available? Like, I'm kind of wondering what sort of, what you can bring to them.
So he has brought a couple of books to this event. They weren't necessarily library books. They were from what we do with the tiny libraries. So he did bring a couple of book donations. A lot of what we do with our senior citizens is gauge what their response is as far as how tactile they can be. So a lot of our crafts are kind of bigger and easier to use. We try to open their minds with community engagement and really just talking to the different senior citizens so that we see what they'd like from us to be able to help and incur. He did have some ask him about certain books, and he did show like our Access 360 app so that they would be able to read books from their adult daycare without having to come in and check them out if they don't have the time to be able to do so. And he did promote his computer class as well, which one of the things this birthday didn't mention was this past time, they actually came back ready to party. They brought Rosca with them, and we had coffee as well as the computer class over at Southmost. So they've definitely seen us as part of their community and want to grow in that fashion. I hope that answered your question.
No, it does. I guess I think about like father-in-laws where sort of dealing with aging parents and trying to keep them engaged. Are there donations even of large print books? I mean, we're also trying to figure out how to engage him as he's getting older. I mean, obviously we're not the only one going through this. Yeah, whether it's audiobooks, whether it's large print books, looking for ideas. I guess so.
Are there things that are out of circulation, such as, I guess, magazines, your periodicals that change out? Is that something in which you would also, gather, you hold on to them for a certain amount of time and then you weed them out? Is that something that you would consider taking to these places as well? I don't know what you do with
Is
these.
this something we could possibly do? Thus far, we've helped with youth services and other craft organizations who've requested them,
Ah,
as well as giving them over to friends, so friends will make additional monies for us. But we can definitely suggest that to our adult services for Jose and Bertha to see if that's what they would like to include. One of the ways they were able to craft for adult services was they used old CDs that were no longer in circulation to make an additional craft and ornament over this past month, I believe. So you were able to kind of see where technology that we don't necessarily use as much right now to help and engage for our future and kind of that reuse recycle process. But we can definitely bring that up to him as well as see if there's other ways he can include additional literacy.
Or even just additional literacy, even games, or, you know, it's just curious to know sort of how to help keep them engaged.
Okay, the next event we have is Pancakes with Santa. This additionally was an event where our temperatures were very, very low and several organizations were opening later in the day, but our children's librarian, Kayla, definitely went above and beyond to go out into the not so warm weather to enjoy Pancakes with Santa. They did additional reading for children as well as sharing our databases and having nice meals there at this event. There was 62 patrons that she was able to talk to, give crafts, and kind of read and enjoy our services here too. With that, our overall total for this month was 1,686, which is definitely a lot more than our previous year. Just to remind you, outreach started in December of last year. So this completes our full year of services and growing outreach. So hopefully we'll have a better year to come and more people that will reach outside these four walls in order to help our community. Any questions?
Ms. Taylor, did the migrant program reach out to you or did you call and ask or offer your services?
The migrant program reached out to us because they saw us at a different outreach event. But it's also one of those funny things where, you know how people move and go in their careers and jobs. So with the migrant families in the ISD, we have a former library worker.
No, I think that's an excellent idea. The migrants, it's hard to go to a library when you go up north or when you're, you know, your parents are working in a different community. There's another organization, it's the homeless. And I know the director, so if you, that's why I asked, do you want me to do it or do you want to call? Or maybe they should ask, but we had, and that's before I retired 5 years ago, 15% of BISD, which was about, I would say about 25,000 students. 25,000 students were homeless. That means they don't have a home to keep a book or, you know, they have to keep it with wherever their aunt or their guardian or whoever saves it for them. So maybe, you know, we could offer something to them or talks with their parents, you know, the home, trying to get back into their feet. I don't know, it's tear jerking, but you know, if you need help, you let me know. If not, her name is Diana Clow. Diana Clow.
Very helpful lady.
Yes.
We worked with her to consolidate with Rotary and we were providing shoes for the homeless. And so she provided us a lot of the information.
She's a go-getter.
Yeah.
She wants things for all those kids. Just bringing that. Sure.
Thank you. Excellent report. All of you had excellent reports. You have your hands full. You work hard for what you, but we want to know how we can help to take it out into the community and let them know the outstanding job y'all are doing.
Yeah, it's really
Because you're working very hard
outstanding job.
and we want the community to know that.
You got the right board. We have nothing but great things to say. No, but whatever we can do to enhance and even go further, you let us know.
Okay. Need a motion to adjourn.
Second. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all. Good evening and welcome to Ms. Peña.
It was fun. She can